Hello.
Hello. This is strange, isn't it? Because we're literally talking to each other on Zoom, even though we are 6 paces away from each other.
I know. It is weird speaking to you through the camera because I'm so used to having you here. Why are you across the way?
Across the way in my home. Well, all will become clear when we talk about the most ADHD thing at the end.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right. So anyway, it's Neurodiversity Celebration Week, and we've taken a quote from neurodiversityweek.com. Every neurodivergent individual has a unique pattern of strengths and challenges, and quite often the focus is on the challenges rather than the many strengths and talents. It's important to harness the strengths and talents of neurodivergent individuals, as this helps build confidence, self-esteem, and ensures individuals are given the opportunity to flourish in their day-to-day. And we think this week's guest shares this message perfectly.
Yeah, how amazing is our next guest?
I'm very excited about this one. She's a little pocket rocket.
Yeah, she's absolutely you referred to her as a ray of sunshine, and she absolutely is. She's an absolute joy. Priyanka, who many of you will know as Little Miss ADHD, reached out to us, what feels like a million years ago, basically right at the start of us doing this pretty much. So Priyanka has been along with us for the ride throughout it all. And it was just so wonderful to finally catch up with her and hear about her experience, and also her starting her amazing platform.
I know, she's done incredible.
Yeah.
And there's some hilarious stuff in this episode. I'm really excited to share it.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic and positive outlook that she has, despite everything that she's been through, all that she's suffered, and the way that she is using her skills to help educate and support the ADHD community is just fantastic.
Yeah. Shall we go and take it away?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF, ADHD as females, the podcast.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Hi, I'm Laura, and we are ADHD AF. Seriously. We are two neurodivergent neighbours who moved to the same street at the same time, at the same age, with the same undiagnosed disability. What are the chances?
Since discovering the enormous impact ADHD has had on our lives and the horrifying numbers of missing undiagnosed females, it has become our mission to make some serious noise.
We want to use our voices to raise awareness, break the stigma, and share our experiences in the hope that they help others.
So join us for a chat, or as it's called up here in Aberdeen, a blether.
Trigger warning, we will be covering some really sensitive topics, so please do have a read of the description of each episode before listening.
It's important to note that we are not medical professionals, we're not therapists or coaches, we're not qualified to offer advice or support. What we will do is share our experiences alongside resources and information from professionals. We will talk over each other and we will go off topic and forget the point mid-sentence.
We are both assigned female at birth, which means that we can only speak from the experience of life as AFAB people. However, ADHD AF is an inclusive space. Whatever your gender, you are very welcome here.
Yes, you are.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF.
So we are joined by, I was going to say a very exciting guest. It's actually two very exciting guests. Would you please introduce yourselves?
So my name is Priyanka. Most people know me as Little Miss ADHD on TikTok and Instagram. And I've got my floofball son with me, Rocco. I'm just waving him. He's falling off the chair. Oh my God, no! I just dropped my phone. Sorry, it's going to be very chaotic. If you hear weird noises, I promise you it's not me, it's the dog.
It's her.
It's the dog. There's no dog yet.
It's the cutest dog.
Look
Who's about the size of Priyanka.
He is. He's huge. Like, when we got a cockapoo, we didn't expect him to be this big. I think we're quite surprised. But no, he makes a great pillow, for sure.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your work history, anything else that you want to share?
So I work as a mental health pharmacist for the crisis teams. I was diagnosed last year when I was 27, so I'm 28 now. And I use my social media platforms to kind of fight against stigma, try and help people understand their condition and, weird and wonderful ways to manage it. And also as a pharmacist, I'm grateful that I have the knowledge about medication and supplements and all of that kind of stuff. So I share a lot of videos about that to just help people understand a bit about, what they're taking, if they want to take it. And I feel like I'm missing something, but oh my God, I'm so sorry. My dog has just farted. Oh my God. Oh my God. Love you. Right. I love you, but move, please. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
We can't smell it. It's all right.
Yeah, I know.
You're lucky.
But I can sympathise because animal bum smells are not great.
They're not great.
It's this like one of them silent, deadly ones. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, that's a first for the podcast.
That is a first. I'm here for it. As long as it's over at that side, I'm not here. It's good. It's good.
No, but in all seriousness, Priyanka, you are fighting the good fight. We absolutely love your content. It's fantastic that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
How do you? I'm going off piece already. Sorry. How do you find it? Like, have you had any negative feedback? Has there been any trolling? Because you've obviously got such a big platform now.
Oh yeah, of course. That's what happens when your platform starts getting a lot bigger. You have this amazing community, which is literally what keeps me going. But then you're also leaving yourself vulnerable to a lot more hate and criticism. And I personally don't have a very thick skin, and I just want to fight every single person that has anything mean to say. And it's just so hard sometimes to deal with it, because I just can't fathom why people kind of sit there and take time out of their day to send hurtful things to someone that they don't even know, especially someone who's trying to, do something good as well. And it's very difficult, especially a lot of people with ADHD have, RSD, that rejection sensitivity dysphoria. So it's really hard when people just don't, they're mean. And I'm like, why? Why do you have to be mean? I wouldn't be mean to you.
Them. Yeah. I just feel sorry for them, to be honest, because if that's where you're getting your kicks, being mean to other people, then you must have a really miserable.
It's true.
Miserable life.
Exactly.
It knows that, but it still hurts, doesn't it? It still sucks, especially the justice sensitivity side of it. It's like you say.
Oh my God.
Why?
Yes.
Like, why?
Yeah.
And it's always a bit like, oh, I'm sorry. What have you done today? What have you helped today? Because last time I checked, I was pretty good on the karma front over here.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Trust me. I think I've gotten used to kind of ignoring and deleting the whole like, oh, shut up, ADHD isn't real, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've managed to get over that. But I think it's the ones that kind of like are very specific to me. That
make it personal.
To deal with. Those are the ones that are difficult. The thing is, like, certain people, no matter what you say, no matter how many facts and science and statistics you throw at them, they're not going to take it in. So there's no point in wasting your breath or energy.
Determined to misunderstand you, determined to say that you're wrong.
Exactly. And I think some of them just do it for a reaction.
Yeah, attention.
And if you feed that, then they're just going to keep.
Well, they're getting what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true. We digress, though. We digress. Sorry, I took us on that little ramble.
I think we could sit here for hours to just kind of bitch about online hate. I mean, anyone with a large platform can, really relate. But I think it's a lot harder when you have this condition as well to kind of deal with it. So, but just focus on the people that support you, because they are incredible people and they are worth your energy and time.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So back to the ADHD and living with this condition, how and when did you come to suspect that you had ADHD?
So it was actually because of a video on TikTok. And this is why I'm such a huge advocate for TikTok. The thing is, it's so great for raising awareness and people like showing their lived experience and how their ADHD presents in them. And I related to a video and it kind of summarized me. So I went and did research for months. I literally, every single link about ADHD in women is purple on my Google, because I read and looked through absolutely everything. Yeah. I even went and consulted with a psychiatrist, because I worked for private mental health hospitals at the time. So I consulted with her because, we had a great relationship. And after 45 minutes of me just babbling about my life, she was like, you have ADHD, you need to go get a referral. But then I think what a lot of women deal with is, you don't have ADHD, you've got depression, you've got anxiety. And my antidepressants were switched like 3-4 times. And it literally took me kicking and screaming in my GPs with the doctor for them to finally refer me. And then, I ended up with my diagnosis last year, and it was very overwhelming. I don't think anyone prepares you for what it's going to be like. The amount of tears and happiness and frustration, and like you go through so many emotions. Like I did a video about this, about how it's similar to the 5 stages of grief. And, no one ever really prepares you for that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we speak about with the late diagnosis roller coaster, because
it's a highs and lows, and it kind of comes back round again. And then you get to one bit and you're like, oh, this is all right. And then there's another curve.
There's another
oh my God,
there's another loop, and you're just like, oh, when is this going to end?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the longest roller coaster ride. You get your money's worth on that one. So how was the diagnosis process for you?
So I had a lot of issues with my clinic, because back then I wasn't doing great mentally. I had to quit my job because I thought if I didn't quit, I was going to get fired. So I quit my job. I moved home. I put on a ton of weight. All of my friendships, relationships, everything was kind of, but it was just like a very difficult time. And my GP had sent over a couple of like many expedite letters to the clinic to basically say like she needs to be assessed soon. And it took my dad getting involved for them to actually listen to me. And it was such an amazing thing, because I come from an Indian background, and particularly within our culture, this kind of thing and mental health is never really acknowledged. And even though my dad didn't understand, he could clearly see I was struggling and he wanted to make it better. So he really told the clinic off, kind of just like, she's really struggling. No one else is helping her. And there was grounds for me to be seen. And I genuinely don't know what would have happened to me if I didn't get seen when I did. And then when I did get my appointment, it was so long. They ask so many questions. They want to know everything, and they want to have your school reports. They want to speak to like your parents, other people in your life, and then they give you all these forms to do. And it was so stressful, because I was like, how can you give someone with ADHD these long forms to fill in with a time limit of 2 weeks? Honestly, it does not make any sense to me. So it was a really invasive process. But because I work in mental health, I knew what the diagnostic criteria was, so I was able to give them the information quite easily.
Yeah, it's funny, you almost have to not fucking have ADHD to be able to get to the point of having a fucking assessment, to be able to self-advocate, to be able to make appointments, to be able to remember all of the criteria, to know all about it, because so many people think, you're going to go and the doctor's going to know, they're going to understand. And so you're going to say, I feel like this, and they're going to hold your hand and they're going to say, yeah, it sounds like you've got this, let me help you. And the exact fucking opposite is true. And you're going to have to go in there knowing what it is that they need to hear. If they turn around and they say, oh, well, if they haven't got the right training, or they're a disbeliever, dare I say it, then, you're going to have to catch them out in the fact that they haven't met the criteria. Like, it's like hardcore application across the board to fill in 1 million forms, which is impossible. And then
you've got the media who are saying, oh, it's easy to get an ADHD diagnosis. And it's like,
further gatekeeping.
Bloody wish it was.
Crazy.
Wish it was for everyone. But
do you think, you were talking about your dad coming in. Do you feel that you being female was a barrier, that it needed to come from a man? Or what do you think? It was just the fact that it was backed up by a man? And do you feel that, like what's the story there? What do you feel about that?
I think it's definitely a bit of both. I think I really struggle to advocate for myself. I don't know what it is. Sometimes when I know that I deserve something, it's really hard for me to stand up for myself and say, no, I'm entitled for this help. I'm entitled for this. So I don't like bothering people. So I was like, I don't want to keep calling them. And then I think as well, because my dad is a man, and also because he's older. Like, I deal with this a lot throughout my whole life because of my age and my gender, that people don't take me seriously.
Yeah.
I just couldn't at that point kind of string together the words to really show them how important this was. And I think maybe having like an older gentleman kind of step in. And I think as well, it's that parent, like, you want to fight for your child. Like, you have that, I don't know what it's called, but it's just, you know, when you're a parent, you do anything for your child.
And I think you throw in, like, obviously you've got ADHD and then you've got a sprinkle of self-worth issues in there on top of that. So it makes it even harder to advocate for yourself and to fight for yourself. And so it helps if you've got someone to help you. But there's other people out there that don't have anyone.
Yeah, it really breaks my heart because I see it from both ends as well. And it's a lose-lose for everyone. And that's the worst thing. It's not that the services aren't wanting to help you. It's just, I think because of how much ADHD awareness has risen since 2020, the services were never prepared. They still aren't for the influx of all these patients. And I also think it's, of course, because of stigma. People don't understand how debilitating it is to live with this condition undiagnosed. They don't understand the severity of it. And they think, okay, if you're undiagnosed, you'll be a little bit hyper. You might forget a few things. It'll be all right. But it's completely the opposite. And I think if people understood how hard it is to deal with it, then there might be a bit more push to try and get the help. These people.
Instead of you've got this far in life, surely you can carry on with the rest of your life.
Everyone needs
I hate that. Oh my God.
You mentioned about your culture. Do you feel that was another barrier for you?
For sure, because I think initially when I got my diagnosed, I felt really betrayed because I was like, the signs were there as a child. When I started to learn about the condition, I was like, it was there the whole time. I mean, my mum was telling me this story. I tell this to everyone, how when I was 2 years old, she was pregnant with my sister and she went to take a nap. She was like to me, I've left your food by the side. I'm going to come down. When she came down, I'd literally thrown my food everywhere. I'd taken my nappy off, thrown it around, and I was running around the house and throwing all my toys. It was just a mess. And apparently I was like that all the time. Yeah. And my mum had a suspicion, but I think because of, you know, the awareness, particularly in our culture, it's not very accepted. But then also because of the stigma, like the parents get blamed, you know, it's your fault. You give them too much sugar, you let them watch too much TV. And I think it's a combination of all of those things that they thought they were probably doing the best thing for me. And that's what helped me come at peace with that whole feeling of being betrayed, because, you know, your parents would never want to do anything to make you have a hard life. And they were doing what they thought was best for you. Yeah. And, you know, there's also the scare about medicating a child, which I think my mom just didn't want to go down. Because, every parent is going to be terrified of doing something like that. Yeah, I think it is quite tricky. And then, the cultural stigma is like another thing added on. But I'm quite lucky that my parents they're very understanding. Like, they want to learn. Even if they don't get it, they do want to learn. And I think I'm quite blessed in that sense, because I know there are other individuals within my culture who unfortunately have dealt with like the complete extreme of, you know, it's all in your head. You just need to get up and go do the things. It's your fault, which is quite common within the, you know, the Asian culture.
Yeah. And that's it. And I think that's why it's so important for awareness, because without it, no one can learn. And then people are scared to do the right thing because they don't know that it is the right thing.
Yeah,
definitely.
What do you think undiagnosed ADHD has cost you?
Oh, bloody hell. What hasn't it cost me? Oh, my God. Do you know what? I think financially, it's been the worst thing, because the amount of money I have spent on impulse buys on shit that I don't even need. Like, I have a whole cupboard full of like all this crap that I bought when I was going through my fitness phase. Have I even looked at it since? I have every single flavor candle under the sun. They're all there gathering dust. I have got 2 lots of acrylic paint sets, which I started and then got bored. One of them I got angry because the colors weren't blending properly like I wanted. I've got a half-done embroidery kit. This is just from hobbies. And then there's, for example, like the speeding tickets, the parking fines. Like, I thought it was an hour free. No, it was 45 minutes and I got a £60 fine. And then having to pay through speeding cameras, and then forgetting to return stuff. And then, you know, subscriptions that you keep forgetting to cancel, or you know you have to, but task paralysis and you just can't go through all the steps that you need to. You know, there's just so many things when it comes to finances that it's cost me particularly. And, you know, when you lose stuff, you have to buy it again. And the amount of crap that I've lost, I am so upset, because when I went to Turkey last year, for the first time, I decided to buy myself diamonds, because I was like, let me just treat myself. And I've lost one of the earrings. I can't find them. And I'm absolutely gutted. And this is the crap that just happens all the time. The stuff that I have lost and misplaced and broken, like the amount of times I've sat on my glasses and they've snapped in half, you know, it's, oh my God, I could sit here and list a million things. But yeah, I think when it comes to money, for sure, ADHD is just costing the most.
It's not just about wasting the money. It's about, like, you know, when you do buy yourself nice things, not being able to look after them. And
anything breaks.
Frustrated with yourself and feeling bad about yourself.
But yeah, moving on, what has changed for you since diagnosis?
Oh my God, I definitely think my perception of what ADHD is, for sure. Like, I absolutely hate admitting this, but I think because of sometimes what people kind of put ADHD as, it doesn't seem as serious as it is, if that makes sense. Like when you first hear about, because, you know, it's got that stereotypical, like, you know, childlike stigma associated with it, like, you know, that hyperactivity and not being able to sit down. That's what everyone kind of thinks ADHD is. But then once I started to learn about it, and even after my diagnosis, and a lot of people think that when you get a diagnosis, it's like, right, things are going to be amazing, everything's solved. But that's really not the case. If anything, it opens up a whole other can of worms, because you're trying to figure out, what is ADHD? What is me? How do I manage this? Okay, meds aren't going to help with that. I need to do something else, but I don't know what else. No one's going to help me. And then you have to just help yourself. And it's just really confusing. Oh my God, what was the question?
What has changed?
What's changed?
Oh, change. Yeah. And I think, like I said, my perception, I've realized, you know what? This condition is really shit. Like, I really don't want it. It causes so many issues in my life, and it's slowly, I'm learning and unraveling it more and more, and everything seems linked. And I think I've come to understand how serious it is, which is the biggest change compared to when I first kind of heard about ADHD, is how difficult it is to manage it, to live with it, what it can, you know, the secondary effect of other mental health conditions, and, you know, how it can impact your life like so severely, and all these, like it affects every aspect of your life. And that's what I've started to slowly understand and learn. And that's probably been the biggest change, is what my perception of it was.
I'm just throwing in an extra question here. Would you change things? Would you have a life without ADHD?
Do you know what? I wouldn't. As much as my condition causes me so much stress, and I can't even think how many things, like, do you know what? I've been trying to find my water bottle for 20 minutes and I couldn't find it. And it's a big bloody thing. And I don't know where I've put it. And I guarantee you it's somewhere stupid, like in the bath. And it's like these little things that just happen every single day. As annoying and frustrating as it is, I think it wouldn't make me who I am. And my strengths, the things that I love about myself, are because of my ADHD. Like, I know that my empathy and compassion is next level, and it's what makes me so great at my job, makes me such a great friend, partner, and then my creativity as well. Like, I can do so much. Like, I have so many incredible ideas, which I know I can, when I figure out how to actually put them in place, you know, then I know it can be something great. And I think the hyper focus is like a good and bad. It's quite hard, because you don't want to hyper focus on the bad things, but then when it's something useful, it is really great. Like at work, I think I had a query about this patient who was on antipsychotics, but also had undiagnosed ADHD. And the consultant wanted to know, what would the antipsychotic do for ADHD symptoms? 4 hours I spent researching about that, you know, because I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. So, you know, that's what the great thing is. And this is why I always tell people that have this condition, like, as much as we struggle with it and as shit as life can be with it, we need to find the strengths that are specific to us, because if we can, you know, focus on those strengths, we can achieve so much with them. Despite all of this crap that's going on in the back, you know. So find something which you're passionate about, which, you know, really you have so much interest in, because that's what's going to make you amazing in life. And, you know, it's exactly why you two are doing so well, because you have that incredible passion about being the voice for women in this world who have this condition and are so lost. And that's why you guys are so successful. And it's down to the passion and creativity you have because of your condition. So I think it's a sticky one.
Justice sensitivity.
Well, that's it.
That's the number one.
You want to fight for what's right, literally.
It's actually quite funny. I only asked that question because yesterday I had a bit of a revelation, and at the bottom of it, I'd kind of said, I'm like, I used to think ADHD has taken everything from me. But then now I realise that it hasn't. It's given me all of this. So it's like,
exactly, yeah,
it's giving me this. And as horrible as ADHD can be, and as debilitating as it can be, like, if it wasn't for ADHD, I wouldn't be doing this. I don't know what I'd be doing, but I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
It's like we finally, being an ADHD advocate, you finally find your calling in life. That's what it feels like to me. Like, I feel like I've been kind of just existing and just living in grayscale. And then once I got my diagnosis and I realized, you know what, I want to do something to make a change. I really want to help people with this condition as well. And then it's finally, you feel like you finally have your purpose. And I think that's so important for people with this condition. We need to have that purpose and fulfillment from our life. And a lot of us lack that. And that's why we really struggle. And that's why I think being an advocate is one of the greatest things, because you always have so much passion for it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's no, we've talked about this before, it's like there's nothing that you could do that could stop us fighting for this cause. And that's the thing,
sure.
There are times when it is really, really hard. I really, really struggle with RSD and emotional dysregulation. And there are times when it's difficult to even, there are times when I can write to the bloody press, and there are times when I can't press send on a fucking email. You know what I mean?
My God. Yeah.
But the point is no matter what, the cause is right there. You're just going to push through, and you're just going to push through. But now it's just a case of identifying that will is never going to go. And so the drive will always be there. And now it's about trying to introduce more self-care. Because I can tell you, up until the point of actually doing the show the other day, I didn't exist. I've not been a person for months. And I know.
I feel exactly the same.
Like that. Like, I don't even matter at all. And that's got to change, because you can't live like that.
No.
Like, I'm a sadist and I absolutely love to be a martyr about things. So I probably could, but that's not right.
No, it's not right. It's not healthy, and it will eventually start to bring you down.
Yeah, well, no, it has. So yeah,
exactly.
So we've got to strike that balance and know that quite often we're not very good at looking after ourselves. Are you any good at looking after yourself? Good at looking after them nails, I'll tell you that.
I know.
Oh yeah, this is a one-off. Like, oh my gosh,
it's talons on.
Watch, give me a couple of days and half of these will have been picked off. That's why I do them, because I remember I was listening to one of your podcasts, and one of my messages when I sent to you guys, you were sitting there talking about you do acrylic nails to help with the nail picking. And I was listening to that, literally there, like picking at my cuticle, and I was just like, oh my God, I feel so attacked. But I absolutely hate it. Like, sometimes it's the forgetfulness, but then also because when you have to do something, you think about every single little thing that you have to do leading up to it, and then it just puts you off because you just get so overwhelmed. And there have genuinely been times, and this is absolutely disgusting to say, where I've forgotten to have a shower that day. Like, I've genuinely forgotten. And it's not until like I'm going to bed, then I'm just like, did I have a shower? And I'm just like, do you know what? I'm just going to have one just in case, because I can't remember. And then, there's other times where, like, for example, with, eating and making sure you get the right foods, it's just so much effort to cook. I hate cooking so much. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just have a microwave meal. It's fine. Like, it's full of so many preservatives and salt, but I just need to eat. And then, or you just, I don't know, there's so many things that can happen throughout the day. Like, you're hyper focusing on something so irrelevant, or, you just physically cannot move from the sofa, or you're forgetting. And then it turns to like 7 p.m. and you're like, oh my God, I've not eaten all day. And then you just completely binge on everything. And it's just, it's so, I think my relationship with food is really hard, because I go through phases where I'm just like, I'm going to have like a spinach smoothie every morning for breakfast. I'm going to be super healthy. And then gets to next week and I'm just like, right, okay, I just want to get a McDonald's because I just don't want to cook.
Exactly. It's that whole all or nothing mentality that we all.
Oh my God, yes, that's literally what it is. It's the all or nothing. I think that explains ADHD so well, and that also relates back to the kind of good and bad, because it's very all or nothing with the good and bad as well. And sometimes that's why it's really hard when like you said, like, do you want this condition or not? Because even though it comes with so much bad, it comes with so much good at times, like little peaks, but it still does. So it's like, it's a fighting battle I have with myself, like, every day.
It's like trying to find a little bit of balance. It's like, we know that we're all or nothing people, and there will be times when we're go hard, and then other times where we're not. And it's just about not being too hard on yourself when you're not doing the things that you want to do.
Systems to support yourself in it, to make you rest and things like that. Like, Dawn really kindly got me a what's it called, floating therapy, like in a
A wellness float.
A wellness float. So like
What's that?
Basically go into a room and float in it's sensory deprivation.
That's the word. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, is that when you're like in the tanks with water and stuff?
Yeah. It was, but this one was and the lights went out. And it was amazing, but it was so funny because literally like for the first 10 minutes I was singing Rihanna and rebounding off all the walls. But then after a while I did actually chill out and it was great. So like that just really taught me a lot about how I don't put anything back into myself. And so I was like, right, I'm going to start booking these because then I just fucking have to. Whereas otherwise I wouldn't. And they're like the equivalent of 3 hours sleep or something.
Yeah.
To be in there for an hour. So it's like, okay, if I regularly do that, then at least I'm doing something good,
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I think especially when you ladies are doing something like this, I can't imagine how much effort and time goes into it. And you probably do forget to, you know, have time to yourself. And it's so important because we're so prone to burn out because we just want to do everything all at once. And it's like we want the end goal to be there and then. So we want to get to it as fast as we can.
Exactly.
Then how can we do that if we're not taking care of ourselves? We have to be the best version of ourselves to be able to, you know, help others and be there for others. So I hope you ladies are relaxing and taking some self-care time.
We're doing it. We're getting there. We started working with a coach as well and things like that. So we're on the path now. We're definitely doing better than we have been. We're on the path.
Absolutely. We're definitely learning lots along this process, this journey. I've said the word. So I had a bit of a revelation this week that I'm finally at acceptance. And not just acceptance with ADHD, but self-acceptance, which is somewhere I've never been in my life. And so we did touch on like the late diagnosis roller coaster briefly earlier. Where do you think you are on that roller coaster?
I slowly think I'm getting to that as well, because I was very stuck in like the depressive phase for a long time because I couldn't get it out of my head. It was just so unfair. Like, why was I still struggling? Like, I'm on medication and I thought, obviously, as a pharmacist, you would expect me to understand what the meds do and don't. But I think everyone, when they want to take medication, they always think this is going to be it. This is going to like solve everything. And the thing is, like, there's no magic cure. And it was really hard, you know, after, because I think once you get titrated, because each dose increase, things just seem to get like bit better. Once you stabilize, you're still looking for that next better, you know, you're still hoping things go, and then you plateau, and then you're just like, oh crap, okay, this is what it's going to be like. Shit, there's still some other things going on. Like, I've not fully got the hang of it. And you're still dealing with all these frustrating things. And, you know, it's because of your expectation of what a diagnosis was going to do for your life. And I think because a lot of us have very high expectations for what diagnosis and like therapy and medication is going to do. And it's really hard to accept that it's not going to be clear cut. Like you said, it's the roller coaster. You're going to have so many ups and downs, and you just feel really lost because you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, where do I go? Like, if I have mental health problems, the mental health services will say, oh no, that's ADHD related. But then when I go to the ADHD services, they'll say, no, it's mental health related. And there's just no one in the middle to kind of tie them two together. And you're trying to figure it out all yourself. So I was completely like down in the dumps, especially because my emotional regulation in RSD is literally insane. It's so bad. And if it's to do with my ADHD, why is it not being, I wouldn't say solved, but I thought I'd have a better hang of it. But I think now I've kind of like, I'm slowly starting to realize like, okay, this is going to be your life and you have to accept that, because if you're going to sit there and feel angry and sad, and you know, you're not going to get that time back, but at the same time you're not going to do anything to make it better. So the longer you spend in that depressive and down in the dumps phase, the more of your life you're taking away from yourself. And it's like so much of your life has already been taken by this. Don't let it consume you even more. Try and manage it. Try and see if there are any little bits of positivity that you can cling on to as well. And that's why I kind of do a lot of the things I do on social media, because I know, especially with like medication and supplements, people are so lost. There's no one to help them. And I just want to be able to kind of give that advice and also show people that, you know, there are ways to like manage this with, you know, other lifestyle choices. And, you know, exercise is a huge thing, which people don't even realize, which it's massive for ADHD. Like when I was on holiday the other month, oh my God, I was a wreck, absolute wreck. And the only day where I was somewhat not I was just crazy. And it was the day that I did a Muay Thai boxing class. And I kicked the guy to the floor. It was amazing. But it was the only day where I was somewhat like, you know, calm in a sense. Like even my friend was just like, there were so many things you could have flipped out about today, but you didn't. And I'm just like, oh, okay, crap, maybe exercise really does play like a huge role with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all these little things that people don't really tell you about, and you have to figure out yourself. So it's like you said, it's a journey. You learn things every single day. Life's never perfect, and it's just trying to get to grips with that, because we just want everything to be right. We want everything to be fair, but that's just not how life is, and it's just really hard to kind of
really hard.
accept that.
I think it's super interesting. I think, like, from my perspective, like, I do feel like I accept that I have ADHD. I think that the first hit was like this idea of, I've constantly spent my life trying to find the answer, and it's trauma, and it's this, and it's all of this horrible stuff. At some point it's going to get better, at some point it's going to be all right, and then you get the answer and you're like, hooray, I've got the answer. Oh fuck no, it's actually never going to go away.
Yeah.
And so then you do have to be in that grief for a while. And now I do accept it. I understand that this is how it's going to be. And as we've said, we've kind of made it, well, calling, mission, purpose, whatever it is that we're doing. And to understand that we're not alone in it, that there are so many people like us, is just the biggest positive ever. It truly, truly is. But I think with emotional dysregulation, with RSD, is those symptoms don't go away. And even if you can sit and you can identify and you can go, well, I'm bawling my eyes out about nonsense, and that's because of this thing. It's because of the thing, right? But you're still bawling your eyes out, and that's not a pleasant experience. And that's the bit that's hard to manage, is the accepting. But it's funny, I think I've come further along with it, because I suppose sort of at the end of last year, I was a bit like, oh, I'm really irate and I'm really upset about this thing. Oh, fuck no, it's complete bollocks. It's just RSD. And then I was getting upset about the fact that I had RSD. That was like a double whammy. But now I think I've just gone, oh, it's RSD, it'll pass. So I think that's a way along.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I do wish it was, more emotionally stable would be nice.
Honestly, really, honestly, that is literally all I'm asking for. Like, it's so hard, because it feels like the emotions, it's like a wave, and you just can't find the air. You're being consumed by that wave of emotion, and it's so hard to get out of it. And it comes like from 0 to 100, it comes out of nowhere. And it's so difficult to experience. And then especially when people don't understand what emotional dysregulation is, you get made to feel silly. But it's like, I'm still experiencing this level of emotion, whether or not you can understand the justification for it. You know, the end goal is still the same. Exactly. Like, I think, that's probably the thing I struggle with the most out of everything. It's not fun.
If you are finding this podcast helpful and you're in a position to do so, we are asking that you help us by signing up to our Patreon. In pledges starting at just £4 a month, it will give you access to our We Are ADHD AF community forum, in which we are both active members and we all support and learn from each other. You will also get access to behind-the-scenes content, exclusives, offers, blogs, vlogs, the works, everything in the kitchen sink. Your pledge will also mean that we will be able to continue to put out weekly episodes of ADHD as Females, the podcast.
Alternatively, if you would prefer just to make a donation, you can do so by visiting buymeacoffee.com/ADHD as Females. We know that our words are helping people in 164 countries and counting.
We really appreciate your support in supporting us to continue supporting the ADHD community.
If you are ADHD AF and you want more ADHD AF, join the We Are ADHD AF community. www.patreon.com/ADHD as Females.
So if you could implement change to the diagnostic process, what would that be?
There's so many things that I would change. Like, it's ironic how ableist the whole system is. It's ironically funny when you think about it. First of all, I think they should definitely be giving someone to help you do the forms, someone to hold you accountable, like phone you up like every couple of days, like, oh, have you done the forms? And ask if you need help, like get on a Zoom call, and if you can go to the clinic, go with them, they'll do it with you. You need someone to help you and just give you the step by step on what to expect, because, you know, when you get referred, no one ever tells you like what's going to happen, or like you're going to have this many appointments and then this is going to happen and then that's going to happen. You'd have no idea, and we need that guidance. Like, we don't like going into anything blind. Like, we feel like we need to have something there. The most crazy thing is having to get those forms back in a certain period of time, otherwise you get kicked off, which does not make any sense to me, because first of all, you make us wait a year, then you give us 2 weeks, and then you make us wait another year. Make it make sense. I would literally say you take as long as you want, but obviously the incentive is the quicker you give in the form, the more quicker you're going to get your appointment. But you're never going to get kicked off, because that's just not fair. And then, it's just like, I would also give, well, in an ideal world, it would be like appointment time ranges. So instead of telling people to be there at a certain time, and if you're 15 minutes late, that's it, the appointment's cancelled, like be there between like a half an hour gap, like range. And, you know, it accounts for so much that could go wrong when having this condition, from time blindness to taking the wrong exit on the motorway to then forgetting something and you've got to go all the way back home. Like, you know, so many things can happen. Also, just I don't know if you experience this, just being sprung with appointments like very last minute, and then expecting to kind of just throw away everything that you were planning to do and expecting to turn up literally like the next week, because that's the only appointment you're going to get. And if you don't go to that, then there's no other appointment for like months. It's just being able to have enough notice, really. And they should definitely be offering counselling as well alongside, because this is the one thing that is just, you know, it's so disappointing. The post-diagnosis support is like, oh, right, here you've got this condition you've been dealing with your whole life. Here's some controlled drugs. And there you go, take these stimulants, off you go, that's it. I'm sorry, what? Like, can someone please kind of help me manage this? Like, it's just, there needs to be a lot more support, and they need to have a lot more holistic approach when it comes to this. Like, you need to offer to help people with their physical health, because that's going to impact the way that their ADHD shows, and also combine it with medication if they want, and therapy. It's a combination of things. ADHD just isn't a causative, you know, like one thing. And I'm doing like loads of reading into this about how genetics and environment play such a huge role in the way that your ADHD shows and develops. And that is going to influence the way that you respond to medication. It's going to influence the way you respond to therapy. And that's never taken into account. And that's why it makes it so hard for people to find help when it comes to, and find something that works for them, because they don't take into account all of these other factors that might influence it. So, oh my God, in an ideal world, there would be so many things. And, you know, if I had my own clinic, first of all, when you walk in, there would literally be like a wall-to-wall foam. So it would just, you know, it would separate the kids and the adults, and it would be like a playroom. So you wouldn't be so bored whilst you're waiting for your appointment. And there would just be so many like games and stuff, and like, you know, headphones, you could listen to your 8D music and just chill out, and, you know, just like free cookies and crisps, whatever your heart desires to, you know, just feed that dopamine gremlin that you have there. And then like, there would just be so many things.
To be fair, you could probably put a bunch of people in that room, and with everything that's in the room, be able to distinguish who has ADHD based on what they do in the room.
That's really true as well. Yeah.
So tell us some positives.
Well, you've told us quite a lot of positives. You have told us quite a lot of positives. Are there any more that you want to add?
I think one of the main messages I want to get across is, especially young people, because I think when you're a child as well and you get given this diagnosis, it's that assumption that you're not going to amount to anything, that this condition is just going to mean you can't do anything and you're going to struggle for the rest of your life. And even when you get late diagnosed, you negatively associate all your struggles, and rightly so. A lot of them are negative with ADHD, but a lot of people seem to forget that this condition, it doesn't mean you can't amount to anything. There's a lot of billionaires and very successful people who have ADHD. Just because you've got this condition and you struggle with a lot of things, it still doesn't mean that you can't accomplish what you want to. And it's about finding your passion in life, which some people don't find it until their 50s, or some people might find it in their early 20s. It doesn't matter. There's no law on what time you're meant to actually find what your passion is in life. But it's about, once you find it, to really focus and nourish it, because that is what's going to make life so much more fulfilling for you. And that's why I'm just so glad for my diagnosis, as as much as I hate it at times, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for it. I wouldn't have this incredible platform on TikTok and Instagram. I wouldn't be able to have done the things I've done and networked with all of these incredible people like yourselves if it wasn't for this condition. And it's just, you can do amazing things. Don't let yourself feel that having ADHD means you can't do anything. Because just because you can't wash the dishes does not mean that you can't be successful. There's pros and cons to all of the good and bad things, but some of the good things can be absolutely incredible. And we don't give ourselves enough credit. And it's because of the self-worth and self-esteem things, because, we can't do all these simple things, but then we don't realize that some of these insanely complicated things, not a lot of people can do, but we can do them. Yeah. And we don't give ourselves enough credit for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think as well, there was something I kind of learned this week about like pigeonholing yourself. I think it's a very like kind of societal thing where it's just like you need to find this one passion. You don't have to have one passion, you could have many. And there's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to put yourself in a box and find one thing. If you have a passion and you love that passion, go for it 100%. But if you lose that and you decide, actually, I'm not interested in that and I want to change, I want to do something different, do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you know what? Actually, let me take back that thing about finding your passion. It's about finding what makes you happy, really, which technically is different passions. Because I think in this society, we're all expected to live that 9-to-5 lifestyle and do that one thing. But why do we have to do that? We can do so many things. Like at the moment, I have my full-time job, but I also do all my bits on social media as well. And having that variety of all these different things is what we need and what makes life so much better. And, my plan eventually is to do a whole load of other things. I mean, we'll see how much I can manage. I mean, but it's very like, what's the word? Optimistic. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's about like, why do we have to conform to society when it's not, this world isn't built for us? And I always say this, we're not built for this world, and we shouldn't have to conform to the rules of society, because most of it just doesn't work with us. Like, we want to have a different type of life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, do whatever makes you happy, literally.
I really, really loved what you said about not being able to do the normal stuff. That really, really resonates. I'm the one that can't drive. I'm the one that's never had a proper full-time job. I can't do really basic shit, like really basic stuff. But I can do some really full-on stuff.
Yeah,
that other people
and that's
think of doing. And what's weird is that quite often I feel embarrassed of the good stuff, because I think that it makes it look like I'm trying to show off or something. And so then I downplay that too. And actually, I just want to say, it just really resonated, because that's really nice to hear. Because it's like, I need to celebrate the weird shit that I can do instead of.
If you think about it as well, how many people in this world can go and wash up dishes? Yeah. But how many people in this world can then go and do some of these complicated things you can do?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, focus. Like, you have so many, like, everyone with ADHD has got so many unique positive traits about them, but we focus so much on these little simple things we can't do because it's the norm and everyone can do them. So why can't we? And we tend to focus on that, compare ourselves to that. But because of that low self-worth and self-esteem, we don't focus on some of these incredible things we can do. And we should show it off. We should be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I can do this. You can't do that. Like, we should really, just praise ourselves for some of these incredible things that we can do, because it's so hard constantly comparing yourself to people in this world. And, you feel like an outlier so much. And we forget all of these incredible things that, other people can't do. And we just need to focus on that. And, just remember that we don't, just because we're not like the rest of the people doesn't mean that we aren't worthy. It doesn't mean that we aren't good enough. Yeah. There's so much to love about us. And I think that's why I always say, like, counseling is so important when it comes to ADHD, because our self-love, self-worth is just completely shattered. Well, it is for me, because of that comparison to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And we forget to, see the good in us. We don't see much good in us. And a majority of the time, like, if we saw ourselves through someone else's eyes, it would be a lot better than what we see. So
I say this often, that we should take ourselves and like kind of take our ourselves outside of ourselves and look back in.
Yeah.
Because it's really difficult. Like, obviously, it's easy to self-chastise and see the negatives and let those negative things overshadow the positives. But if we actually started focusing more on all the positives, we'd feel a little bit better about ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So is there anything else that you want to add?
There was one thing I did want to say, actually, because just being here speaking with you guys just feels so like surreal. Oh God, I'm sorry if I cry. I'm such an emotional wreck all the time. Fucking hell.
It's all right.
Your podcast was
Take your time.
I want to ruin my makeup. Do you know how long this took me?
Yes, suck it through the eyeballs, Priyanka, right now.
I'm rolling it up. You know, like that guy from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I'm like, Tia, go back in. But sorry, my dog is crying as well because when he sees me crying.
Oh.
Your podcast was the first one that I listened to. Sorry, my boyfriend's back. Let me close the door. Yes, I'm on a podcast. I'm on a podcast.
Can we keep
Sorry.
this in?
Can we keep all of this in, please?
So chaotic. Oh my God. I'm literally talking about something serious and my dog is literally body slamming himself against the door. Okay. Right. Where was I? Yeah. So your podcast was the first one that I ever listened to when it came to any of this stuff. And I finally felt heard. I finally felt seen. And I'd not felt that ever in my whole life. It's so hard sometimes having this condition because you always feel so lonely. You always feel like there's something wrong with you. And it was just so comforting to have you guys who are so genuine, so down to earth and relatable, and you just kind of talked about everything and anything, the good and the bad, and it was just so nice to finally feel like I wasn't alone. And it was that your podcast was literally the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Like when I first messaged you on Instagram like ages ago, it was back on my personal account. It was before I'd even it was even before I'd even created all of this stuff. And it's because of you guys gave me that strength. You helped me kind of just give me that little push that you can be something and you're not going to be alone in this world. There's so many other people who are like you, and the community that you guys have built is just absolutely beautiful. And I've seen your podcast grow, I've seen your Instagram grow, and I'm literally just sitting there just cheering you on along every single time I see anything. Like when I saw your tour, I was just like, oh my God, these girls are smashing it. I'm so proud because like I feel like I've been there like so far from the beginning, and it's just so incredible to see that. Like I am super proud of you guys. Like you guys are so inspirational, and it's just amazing that I was able to get the chance to talk to you. It's just you guys are like my role models. It's it means a lot. So thank you for having me on.
Honestly, and I think it's funny for us because we absolutely love what you're doing, and like you actually know what you're talking about.
But we need people like you who also are there to kind of just say what it is, and give people a real telling off as well. And you guys do so much to advocate in your own way, but in a way that we definitely need as well. And it's so important that we have kind of like all aspects of ADHD advocacy. And
I think so. That's the point, is it that there's no one size fits all. We're all different. If everybody's got their different bit to say, look at it like this, look at it like that. That's why we loved speaking to so many different people, because we're trying to understand it from, well, you can't understand it from all angles, but from different angles, because it presents so uniquely from person to person. Doesn't it?
And we often think, and like we've said it a few times, like who do we think we are doing this? But like what I've come to realize is we're two people that are living this, experiencing this, and through our experiences, like we say, that can help people. So We know exactly who we are.
Yeah.
And that's helping people. And it's so nice to hear other people say it. And it's sometimes quite hard to accept the praise and the thanks that we get from other people. But I think I'm slowly getting to a point where I'm like, okay,
yes,
it's nice, and we appreciate it.
I'm very jealous of your thatness, but I feel like it's still really hard to take. But what I have noticed, which I'm really fucking excited about, and I literally only realized this today, I'm not absolutely terrified that it's going to go tits up tomorrow. I thought that we would fuck it up somehow. We would have to quit. We would burn out. Something would happen. We would be cancelled. Something. I just lived in this constant state of fear that I had to keep like push, because it would just end. And I finally got to a place now where I'm like, nope, we're not going anywhere. We're doing fine. We can kind of ease off with the pushing so hard, put some nurture in, and we'll be away.
I think even if this was to all end for us tomorrow, I'd be so proud of what we've achieved.
100%, but I don't want it to. We've got shit to do.
It's not going to. The thing is, it's not going to. But even if it did, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
For sure. Yeah.
But thank you for your kind
really
words,
kind of say that.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear, and we appreciate it.
Yes, and anyone listening, if you are not already following, it's Little Miss ADHD, is that right? There's no.
Yes, but there is some underscores, and it's a very touchy subject because it's a spam account that has the name I wanted, which is really annoying. So it's Little Miss _ADHD_. So yeah, I use that on Instagram and TikTok. I use TikTok more because I find it easier to just speak and film videos.
Yes.
Like, it's a lot of fun making the infographics, but oh my god, it's so typically ADHD. I don't think
Laura would agree. Maybe
it was at the start, and it's because I was hyper focusing, and I literally was posting like every other day, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I like Canva. It's so fun. Look at all these colors and cartoons and this and that. And then after a while, I'm like, okay, I'm just like, the novelty is wearing off. Like, it's a lot of effort to create an infographic. So yeah, I'm gonna start just posting a lot more videos, because I think it's a better way as well to kind of like articulate what you want to say. So yeah, that's me.
Yes, so give her a follow because she is amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Us, Priyanka, what is the most ADHD thing you've done this week?
So I had surgery a few weeks back. My boss, to make sure that I was able to work from home for this week, they needed a fit note or sick note from my GP, right? To cover that period. So I made an appointment with my GP on Wednesday. I said to myself, the one thing you need is to get that sick note. That is the only thing you need. You have so many other issues that you need to talk about, which is important. But if you forget some of them, it doesn't matter. This is the one thing you need. My boss even phoned me up the day before to say, your appointment is tomorrow. You're going to get the sick note. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I will get it. Told myself before I left the house, I'm going to get the sick note. Did I bloody get the sick note?
No.
I went in, started chitter-chattering with my GP about what we were going to have for dinner, how's life, this and that, and then randomly thinking, oh, yeah, no, I need a prescription for that. Oh, wait, no, I need you to check this. And I completely forgot that I needed to go in for a sick note. And then I got home and I sat there literally kicking myself because I was like, that's the one thing you needed to go and do. How did you not do that? Like, how is your memory and forgetfulness and distractibility that bad? And then I was faffing around with my GP for days trying to get the sick note, trying to phone them, and then they wouldn't pick up, and then doing it through the app, and then this and that, and then, you know, telling my boss like, yeah, I'm getting it sorted, but, you know, panicking inside. And I could have saved all of that if I had just remembered. So that's just one example of like the chaos that unfolds. Yeah, it was, oh my God, it was so frustrating.
Well,
at least I got it in the end.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah,
you managed to get it, and yeah, we do it all the time. So.
Bianca, it has been so wonderful to speak to you.
Yes.
Like, really.
Same here. I knew I would have so much fun with you guys.
Yeah.
You're a little ray of sunshine.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we hope to see you in real life one day very soon.
Me too. We'll figure it out.
Well, we're on the road.
We're on the road
soon.
Yes, I know, but have I been able to even look and try and oh my God, I feel very attacked right now. I'm just holding my hand up to my face.
We'll find you.
We'll come find you.
Yeah, we will.
You have a festive evening, and thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, how much do you love her though?
She's just lovely. She's just such a sweet, happy, she's just such a lovely girl.
Yeah, honestly, like we could have talked to her all night. Yeah, I just really, really loved her positive outlook of, we all know, we talk about hyperfocus all the time and about how we need things that fire off our dopamine. So if you follow the things that you love, then you can succeed in things. So not to just see the negatives.
Hone in on the things that excite you.
Yeah, then you can absolutely thrive and succeed. For me personally, like it really struck a chord, as I said in the interview, but really what I took away from it was that having identified, even though I didn't know I had ADHD, having identified way back when that I didn't fit in and seeing the things that I can do, there are very strange things that people aren't afraid of that I am. And then things that people would be afraid of that I'm not. And so it's just like, right, I'll run at them. I'll go and do those things. But in perceiving it that way, and I'm telling you honestly, it was this interview that changed it for me. It actually detracts from my successes. It's a second best. Oh, well, I did do that, but I only did that because I'm shit. Like, what a weird way to think about it. So I'm just so, so grateful to Priyanka for totally reframing that. Because the point being is that, like, no, I achieved those things. Like, yes, what led me there was perhaps failure, but that doesn't make the things that I've achieved a failure. And I should be proud of the things that I've achieved.
Yes, you definitely should, because you've achieved lots. I think as well, in that same kind of context, is that when we can do something, we don't see it as a win because we can do it. And
yes.
Like there's so many things that we can't do, so many things that seem so easy to everybody else. And we've made ourselves feel like shit because we can't do them. So when there is something that we can do, when there is something we find easy or that we pick up really quickly, we don't see the merit in that because we've been able to do it. And so you end up thinking, well, if I can do it, then anyone must be able to do it because I can't even get up out of bed in the morning or do the dishes or clean my house and everyone else can do that. So yeah, it must be an easy thing that I'm doing. And you kind of just take the credit away from yourself when actual fact is like, well, no, that thing you're doing is actually pretty difficult for most people.
It's very, very true.
And yeah, so Priyanka's made me realise that I definitely need to pay more attention to the things that I can do as opposed to the things that I can't. And so I'm very, very grateful to her for that.
When I first listened back to that interview, I was a bit like, oh gosh, we should definitely take out the bit where she even says she's like fangirling us, because if we put it out, that's going to make us sound like we're really arrogant. Like, look, see, somebody likes us. Look at like, I think it's a really good example of how our emotions can be with ADHD. She really, really didn't want to cry. Like, she even stopped herself, had to deal with the dog, came back and still cried.
Yeah.
And that's like just the perfect example of it. Like, she was overcome with emotion because she was happy, because she was excited that that we were doing what we were doing. But not crying was not an option.
Yeah.
And that's the story of my life. It literally is.
Yeah. But yeah, such a lovely girl. And I'm so glad that we had her on the podcast. And there's so much insightful things. And the work that she's doing, the awareness that she's spreading is just incredible.
Yeah, it really, really is. From her experience and her actual experience in the workplace to literally be able to convey things like the example she gave about medication when you plateau and thinking, well, there's more that I want to take away, and then being down in that because you're left with it. Like, that's such a really important thing to put out there, because that is what we all experience.
Yeah.
Preparing people with that awareness. So good on you, Priyanka.
Yes.
Absolute legend.
So what's the most ADHD thing you've done this week?
So I am about to go on holiday. We're going to Big's cousin's wedding, which is in Dubai, which is very exciting and very strange as I look out the window and it looks really cold. And I know that we're going to be in a really hot place like so quickly.
I'm very jealous.
But what's funny, there's two things that I've done that are the most ADHD thing that both relate to this trip. One is I have spent literal months planning what I'm going to wear because there's different events on different days of the wedding to celebrate, and different themes to follow.
Yeah.
So I've researched everything. I've spent an unreasonable amount of time on Depop and Vinted, and I've got absolute treasures, and I've covered absolutely everything. Everything is sorted. And then yesterday I go to say, oh, look, my dress looks nice. Last dress turned up. And then I'm like, oh shit, shoes. So all I thought about was all these outfits, but absolutely forgot the fact that I would need something on my feet. So the reason why we are recording this over Zoom is because I can't leave my house. Because if I miss the delivery, then I've got no shoes to wear to the wedding, and we're flying in the morning. So apologies that this isn't live and in person, but if I miss those shoes, I'm in trouble.
Why do we do it to ourselves?
But I was so on it. I thought I was so organised. I've literally been planning it so long.
Did you not also have a countdown thing in your pin board in your house?
Yes, so that is my other most ADHD thing, is the ultimate example of object impermanence. So we've been looking forward to this trip for so long, and I knew that it was so close to our tour and everything that I was keeping track on the pegboard of how many days to go, so that every day I would have to look at it, change the date, and be like, must remember to organize this, must remember to get this, etc.
Yeah.
Now, I just suddenly realized when I went into the bathroom that it says on the pegboard 46 days until Dubai, and I'm going to Dubai tomorrow. So there you go. That is object impermanence at its finest. Absolutely.
That's brilliant.
How about you?
As we know, we had our event at the weekend just passed.
Oh.
The event actually corresponded with my dad's birthday. My
Yes.
dad's no longer with us, but I have a necklace and it's got a little pendant. It's called a cartouche. My dad was a big fan of Egypt, and he'd got this gold necklace that had hieroglyphics with his name on it. And when he passed away, I inherited this, but I've also got my own one. So I like to wear his chain's really gold and chunky, and I'm not a big fan of the goldy looking chain look. So I wear the original chain that I got mine on, but I wear his pendant and my pendant together. So I thought, with it being his birthday on the day that we're doing the event, it would be really nice to have his necklace on, and kind of like just tucked away under my outfit, because obviously I was wearing my too much necklace on the day. But yeah, I had it there with me, so just so I could feel close to him on his birthday. And obviously this is a really important necklace, regardless of what material it's made from or anything like that. This is like sentimental value. And out of everything that we had at the tour, every single item,
boxes and bags and all sorts, like
out
so
of
much
everything that we had, it's that's the one thing I would have not wanted to lose. And on Monday I'm unpacking and I'm like, I can't see my dad's necklace anywhere. And so I was like, I was like, I'd messaged you, and I think I'd messaged my friend Claire being like, have you seen it? Have you seen it? And she's like, I can't remember you taking it off. But thankfully I contacted the hotel and they emailed back instantly saying they had it. So
honestly, what a relief.
But I'm like, out of everything that we had to do, pack and all of the things, just that one little thing that I just obviously put down somewhere and completely forgot.
We
But I
literally
have it back.
had 2 carloads full of stuff that we took to put on that event.
I know.
And the only thing that you misplaced was that. It's
Yeah, ridiculous. But got it back, picked it up today. It's all in one piece and we're all good. And yeah, I'll be more careful. This is why I don't have nice things. Nice things, expensive things, important things, because it's always seems to be the most important things that I misplace or break. So, but yeah, I will be a little bit more careful in the future.
Yes, indeed. But it's really lovely. What a fitting tribute on a special day.
Yes, indeed. I got it back and I'm very happy, so it's all good. So our listener most ADHD thing, well, we still had so many that we didn't get a chance to read out for the Aberdeen event. And I just think that there's some absolute corkers in there. And I wanted to share one more from that. We have one here that says, I slept in for a flight to Prague for my friend's birthday. So I then had to buy new flights to get there. As it turned out, because I'd missed the outward flight, the return flight had been cancelled and I had to then buy the return flight again too. Not only that, when I arrived, I realised that if I got into pack any proper clothing and had to borrow clothes from all my friends for the whole weekend. That's not the one, is it?
Oh, God.
So moving on to rabbit holes. What is your rabbit hole of the week?
Well, I don't really have a rabbit hole this week, but something really, really made me laugh in that if anyone remembers from our first rabbit hole that we shared, mine was that I, for some reason, got completely hyper-focused on finding out everything there was to find out about Bob Geldof, Paula Yates, and Michael Hutchence and that whole scenario.
Yes.
My delight, well, actually, it'll be out already, but on Monday, there is a documentary series ongoing about Paula Yates.
Well, I mean, did you write that series?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I'm excited about it, but I blatantly don't need to watch it. They should have asked me. I could have told them all the information, done an interview.
Well, you never know, you might get some new information.
Obviously, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, you're going to watch it.
Fact check.
My rabbit hole this week has been about accounting. Just like post tour, I'm just like obsessed. I'm like, I need to get everyone paid. I need to get all of the invoices paid. I need to make sure that, you know, everything that's outstanding, like all of the incoming stuff as well, and all the rest of the tour stuff. And I've got all these spreadsheets and stuff made up, and I'm just a little bit obsessed with trying to get all the accounting stuff on top of, because it would be really nice to have everything sorted out for us when we actually do go on tour, so that we're just on it.
I honestly could not be more grateful for that rabbit hole, because I literally cannot do numbers at all. Spreadsheets, I literally look at them and my eyes like cross or something and completely zone out, and I can't even see what I'm looking at. So thank God for that rabbit hole. I'm so grateful, Dawn. Thank you.
It's a weird one, because it's not that I love numbers or anything like that, but it's almost like it's problem solving in a way.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, right, I've got all these things and I need to get to this end place. So I'm like, I have to join all the dots together to complete this puzzle. So it's almost like a game. And that's why I get this little boost
You're
from
like a detective.
Yeah, I do. I worked in our job last summer, and I was doing all their accounting stuff, and it was fixing things and finding things, and I just loved it. It was just like, I felt like Miss Marple.
Well, Miss Marple, you are a legend. I salute you. Thank you very much.
And what is our listener rabbit hole?
So this is from one of our Facebook followers, who says that her rabbit hole this week has been making quite the magnificent chapeau. She says, had lots of cheap, colourful hair extensions, decided to sew them into a hat. It took about 20 hours in 4 sittings. My house is now a mess, but I'm so happy to get it done. Been meaning to do it since Christmas. But yay, done now in time for Easter Holiday First Festival. And I'm now wearing it around the house, doing the housework that I did not do for the 4 days it took to make.
I love that. Okay, I guess we should probably call it a day on this one, because you need to go on holiday.
Yeah, I've got stuff to pack and sort and dread to think what else I've forgotten. So wish me luck.
And before we go, just a happy Neurodiversity Celebration Week. If you want to find out some more, then follow the link in the blurb from this week's episode. And Laura, have the best holiday ever. You deserve it.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to you all for listening, for supporting us. Please do come and see us on tour. Like, get yourself a ticket. It was just the most magical day. I'm not saying that being arrogant, because we're great, but saying that in the way that it was so wonderful to meet everyone, and the atmosphere was incredible. And we just want to meet as many of our listeners as we can and just have a really great time all over the place. So please do come and join us.
Yes.
And if you do want to connect with us prior to that, then please do join our community, where we have live blethers, body doubling and all sorts, and chat on the Discord, which is just going off 24/7. And I'll shut up now.
Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.
ADHDS females, ADHD AF, ADHDS females.